former Vice President and former Indiana Governor Mike Pence. Just days before he kicks off his campaign for president, the Justice Department has now finished an investigation into classified documents found at his Indiana home. Several outlets reporting the DOJ sent a letter to Pence's team indicating he will not be facing any charges in that case. That news coming just days before a big announcement in Iowa. We've confirmed he is planning to launch his campaign for president this coming Wednesday, according to a source familiar with the plans. Of course, Pence's political career began right here in the Hoosier State, and today we're looking back at some of the ups and downs throughout his time in public office. A native of Columbus, Indiana, Mike Pence has had a political career filled with success and also with controversy. The former radio host and father of three was elected to Congress in 2000. In his early years, Pence was a favorite among conservatives, voting for the Iraq War and calling for a balanced budget.
Congress has a historic opportunity to vote on just such a bipartisan solution. It's a balanced budget amendment.
After 12 years in Congress, Pence was elected governor of Indiana, succeeding former Governor Mitch Daniels. Pence's first term focused on growing the state's economy and building on Governor Daniels' success.
We set a new record for private sector employment. Here in our bicentennial year, there are more Hoosiers going to work than ever before in the 200-year history of the state of Indiana.
As governor, Pence's evangelical Christian beliefs took center stage in several abortion-related controversies. Pence also suspended a program for Syrian refugees trying to resettle in Indiana in a move that may have foreshadowed an eventual policy agreement with then-candidate Donald Trump.
I simply believe in these very uncertain times in which we live, we should err on the side of caution. And we're going to use every legal means at our disposal to continue to suspend this program.
But his biggest challenge as governor came in 2015. The controversial Religious Freedom Restoration Act created waves of opposition across the state and throughout the country.
This is not a state that is unwelcoming to people, and the people that live here are friendly, good, welcoming people.
Eventually, the governor had to back down and agree to an amendment to include discrimination protections for the LGBT community in certain cities.
We will fix this, and we will move forward.
We are not satisfied with your fix, and we're not going to go away. We want protection everywhere, every county in the state.
Pence had been considered a potential candidate for president, but in the wake of the controversy, announced he'd be running instead for re-election as governor. And in the 2016 presidential primary, Pence famously endorsed Ted Cruz for president.
Governor Pence is a trusted conservative. He is a man of faith, a man who takes these decisions very, very seriously.
I will be voting for Ted Cruz in the upcoming Republican primary.
Though at the same time, he also praised Donald Trump and later met with Trump before being named as his running mate. We were there for an exclusive interview moments after Trump made the announcement official.
Do you stand by some of those controversial things he said, and how will that dynamic play out on the campaign trail?
I'm excited. I'm excited to be joining the ticket tomorrow.
The Trump-Pence ticket took the political world by storm, with Pence bringing support from social conservatives, leading to one of the biggest upsets in American history. But of course, that political partnership looked much different 4 years later after the stunning events of January 6th. I asked Pence about his role that day in a one-on-one interview late last year. Your family was with you that day. I know how much your family means to you. What angered you the most about the events of that day?
Well, January 6th was a tragic day, Dan. But I'll always believe I did my duty that day under the Constitution and the laws of this country. The president's statements that day, in the midst of the riot,
some of them about you specifically,
I thought they were reckless.
And of course, more news this week on the former president as well. But here in Indiana, a lot of focus on the former vice president and the campaign that he is about to launch. Right now, we're joined by someone who literally wrote the book on Mike Pence. It's Tom Lubianco, who's now with The Messenger. Tom broke the news of Pence's campaign launch this past week. And Tom, this will come the very same day that he does a town hall in Iowa, which may really become his second home here over the next few weeks and months.
Absolutely. His folks have been talking this up, that they really need to focus hard on Iowa. I mean, it's make or break for him, as it is for a lot of the other candidates in the race, not named Trump or DeSantis. So he's going to be making that launch from Des Moines, Iowa, and he's going to, which, June 7th, of course, also happens to be his birthday. No small thing there. And then he'll do that CNN town hall. But yeah, I mean, it's as they say on the trail. Everybody's got a connection to Iowa. I guess we're going to find out what Pence's connection is.
What kind of event do you expect this to be Wednesday, this campaign kickoff, and who will it be geared towards?
Well, Pence and his people are focused heavily on it's kind of a subset of evangelical voters. And I talked a little bit about this in the book. This is one of the ways that really helped me understand him. And the Trump campaign advisors told me a lot about this too. The reason he was picked for the ticket to begin with back in 2016 is because you don't he's not going after the fiery Southern Baptist. He's going after kind of the more Midwestern, a little staid, more even-keeled evangelical voters.
Tom, thanks. Last weekend, Vice President Pence was at the Indy 500. So were a number of elected officials from Indiana, including Governor Holcomb and Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Kraut.